It's becoming more and more clear that they are reliant on forced labor to make their products.
If you're an avid TikTok user or an online shopper, chances are you've heard of Shein. It had 6.8 million downloads in 2022, making it the most downloaded shopping app in America, beating the likes of Amazon. It was also the most talked about brand on TikTok and YouTube in 2020. It has changed the game for fast fashion by releasing an insane amount of new designs every day. For perspective, Shein released 6,000 new clothing designs every week, while Zara, one of its main competitors, releases about 500. For such a recognizable brand, though, the company itself is quite secretive and shady. For starters, no one knows much about its founder, Chris Zhu. Some reports claim he is Chinese-American, while some claim he was born in China and has no association with America. Along with that, the company has also been accused of using forced labor multiple times, as it's not been able to disclose where it sources its materials from.
Hundreds of thousands of people from ethnic minorities, including the Uyghur community, are being forced by the Chinese authorities to pick cotton in the far western region of Xinjiang.
And the more you look into it, the shadier it gets. Shein has been accused of tax evasion, violating human rights, using toxic chemicals in its clothes, and stealing designs from independent artists, among others. But the craziest part is Shein has only been around for 15 years, and it has successfully overtaken established brands like Zara and H&M. So what is it doing right that other companies aren't? In today's video, we will talk about Shein's rise and how it became one of the biggest e-commerce platforms in the world in such a short time, along with its problematic existence. The origins of Shein, as well as the life of its founder Chris Zhu, are quite conflicting. According to some sources, notably Forbes, Chris Zhu is an American-born graduate of Washington University, while other sources claim he was born in the Shandong province of China and attended Qingdao University of Science and Technology. Zhu has never publicly accepted or denied claims about his life. Unlike other billionaires, it seems Zhu is keen on maintaining his privacy. Shein did comment that Zhu is Chinese-born. Other than that, we don't know much. Before starting his own business, Zhu worked as an SEO specialist, which later undoubtedly helped him expand Shein. It was originally named ZZKKO and was founded in 2008 in China. Initially, Zhu focused on selling wedding dresses and later started selling other items, but when he wanted to expand to international markets, the name was not going to work. So in 2011, the name was changed to Sheinside, and in the early 2010s, Shein mostly sold in countries like France, Italy, and Germany. Currently, brands like Zara and H&M, who pioneered fast fashion, are not able to keep up with Shein, and the reason behind it starts from the beginning. Influencer marketing is big these days, but it was virtually non-existent back then. Shein was able to recognize the huge potential of influencer marketing early on, using it as early as 2011. This gave them the first mover advantage. In the early years, Shein was able to use influencer marketing virtually for free, just by giving the influencers free clothes and merchandise. As you would guess, this was extremely lucrative, and suddenly everyone's favorite influencer was talking about Shein. The ROI for this marketing was about 300% in the early days, but as influencer marketing got expensive, Shein started doing something different. It used many micro-influencers who didn't have a lot of reach. Sure, they didn't get as many views, but Shein didn't pay them either. They got free clothes from Shein. This, again, proved to be massively successful. When TikTok came around, it was as if Shein repeated history. Shein was one of the first brands to use it for marketing. With the rise in popularity of TikTok and Gen Z flocking in to make content and overshare in the app, this step proved to be a huge success for Shein. Rather than using celebrities and huge influencers, Shein again used micro-influencers to promote itself. Although the company was already growing rapidly, COVID-19 lockdowns in 2020 played a huge part in the company going mainstream. Videos of people doing Shein hauls started going viral on TikTok, and this encouraged more people to try out their products. Shein haul is basically influencers going on a shopping spree or being given a ton of free clothes by Shein to show them off. In such a short time, Shein has overtaken the fast fashion world and become one of the most notable names in the industry. It has been growing at a rate of over 100% every year for the last 8 years. According to Bloomberg, Shein's sales were at $10 billion in the year 2020. That is a jump of 250% from the previous year. In the year 2021, sales rose to $16 billion, a staggering increase of 60%. Since its launch in 2008, it has not only been able to make a name for itself, but beat all its other competitors. But influencer marketing is just one part of its success. Another reason why Shein has been so successful is because of its price. which no one can compete with. Sure, cheap clothes made in China are not a big deal, and everyone knows about it. But Shein has found some crazy loopholes to make it even cheaper. Shein is one of the few companies profiting hugely from the trade war between America and China. In 2018, the Trump administration imposed tariffs on products from China. Doing so would make Chinese products more expensive in the US market, making them less competitive, or so they thought. To curb this problem and still make Chinese products cheap, the Chinese government removed export tax obligations for the companies that were directly exporting their products to the customers, and Shein was doing just that. Unlike other brands which have a long distribution chain, Shein hit the jackpot with this, as the company was already not paying import taxes in the US because it was exploiting a certain loophole since 2016. Individual packages worth less than $800 are duty-free in America. Shein sells mostly to end customers whose orders are almost always below $800, so they did not have to pay any import taxes either. Brands like Zara don't get this advantage as they do not directly ship to their customers. Another interesting thing about the company is that although it's based in China, it has no Chinese consumers. Most people in China probably don't know anything about Shein. It was solely established to sell products in the international market. America is one of its largest markets. 31% of the website's traffic comes from America, while Brazil, which is in second place, contributes about 10%. Another thing that Shein does differently from its competitors is instead of working with large factories that produce large number of products and rigid agreements, Shein works with small and mid-sized workshops, which are more flexible. At this point, you might wonder, how is this beneficial to Shein? Because isn't the economics of scale the whole point? But it looks like Shein has developed a more efficient strategy. As Shein caters to individual customers rather than stores, they produce their clothes in small batches. If the product does well and the outfits go viral, Shein can produce them in no time. Because of this small batch strategy, Shein adds almost 6,000 new styles to its platform weekly. With so much to choose from, Gen Z spends countless hours scrolling and ordering from their app and website. The average site duration of Shein is estimated to be around 8 minutes and 36 seconds. This is higher than any other fashion brand in the US. Talking about supply chains, Shein is one of the few brands that prioritizes paying their suppliers on time. This makes the suppliers willing to work with the brand. Although Shein has achieved the success that makes other businesses envious, it has not been smooth sailing for the company. Fast fashion comes second in the industry that pollutes the planet the most after the oil industry. The company often gets criticized for encouraging fast fashion. You get what you pay for, and this cannot be more true for Shein. It delivers what the customer asks for at a fraction of the price, and because of this, overconsumption has become a huge issue. Thousands of videos are posted under Shein Haul every day on TikTok, where people show a large amount of clothes they buy from the company. With prices being so low, customers are likely to buy things that they do not need just because they are cheap. As the quality of the clothes is low, they ultimately end up in landfills after being worn a few times or even less. Like with many other companies that are based in China, privacy and security are another major concern when it comes to Shein. China lacks strong privacy laws, and some critics of the company believe that the lack of privacy laws meant that it was easier for the company to collect user information to modify the algorithms to attract customers. Although a private entity, the government in China expects every company operating in China to remain loyal to the state, which means your data could easily fall into the hands of the CCP. Loyalty to the state is embedded in Chinese intelligence law. Article 7 of the 2017 edition states, any organization or citizen shall support, assist, and cooperate with the state intelligence work. Although records show that Xu has been cutting business ties with China, people are still skeptical about the company's ties with the CCP. As of 2021, Nanjing Lingtian Information Technology has been deregistered, and Shein's headquarters has been moved to Singapore. Along with this, Shein's Android app was found to have a basic marketing spyware tool. In 2022, its parent company Zotop was caught and fined $1.9 million for trying to cover up serious data breaches and lying about the damages. Lack of transparency seems to be a huge issue with Shein. Being a private company, it is under no obligation to disclose its financials. But not only financials, Shein seems to be not transparent about anything. Critics of the company doubt whether the resources used to produce their garments are sourced ethically. Many sources have linked Shein with cotton produced in the Xinjiang region. It is believed that the Uyghur people are used as slave labor to produce cotton in this region. As Shein can produce its garments in such a short period, it puts huge pressure on the workers at the warehouse to make these products. Questions remain if Shein follows proper labor laws. Turns out, it does not. And who's surprised, right? According to one report by the BBC, workers at the warehouses work up to 75 hours a week with no day off. They usually get a break once a month. This is a direct violation of Chinese labor law, according to which workers are not supposed to work more than 40 hours a week with a one-day break. Shein is also notorious for stealing designs from independent designers. This harms the designers directly, as it's impossible to compete with the prices of Shein. According to one report, 15% of Shein's products contain hazardous chemicals which put human health at risk. Along with this, Shein's products also have been found to have a high amount of lead, sometimes up to 20 times the recommended limit. In protest of the unethical practices, human rights abuses, its ties with the CCP, and the harm it does to the environment, a new coalition announced the launch of Shut Down Shein in March of 2023. The campaign aims to educate the American public, as well as government officials, about the problematic existence of Shein and how it does more harm than good to society. It also talks about how it's been exploiting the tax loophole in America and operating by virtually paying zero taxes. Even with lots of scrutinies, the fast fashion giant continues to grow. According to Shein executives, the company is targeting an annual revenue of $58.5 billion by 2025. The company also expects to grow its gross merchandise value to $80.8 billion by 2025. That's a rise of 174% from that of 2022. It looks like there is no slowing down for Shein, and it has ambitious plans for its future. Many reports even suggest an IPO listing in 2024. With coalitions like Shut Down Shein on the rise, as concerns for the environment as well as unethical business practices grow, only time will tell if Shein will be able to sustain itself in the market. For now, it is growth at all costs for Shein. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.